Hey, what's up? White Bread here with another OP06 deck profile. This time we are looking at blue yellow queen, and this will be the last OP06 deck profile before we transit into OP05. Not OP05, OP06.5. I'm very excited to move to the 6.5 because I like to showcase a few of the new cards and concepts. But today is all about queen. Let's go. So first we have the leader. So queen, animal pirate kingdom, animal kingdom pirates. What am I saying? Okay, 5,000 a power, 4 life leader, dual colored, quite standard. Effect is Dawn +1 when attacking. If you have total of 4 or less cards in your hand and life area, okay, draw 1 card. If you have a character with 8 cost or more, you can add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to your life instead of drawing 1 card. So this is like you mainly do it for the life gain. So you must have the 8 cost character and above, but if you have less, you just draw a card. If you don't have the 8 cost character, and by then it will be very dangerous because you got not enough hand and no 8 cost character on board. So don't reach it to that state. Always have an 8 cost character on board and add your life. Okay, so today mainly we are going to talk about life, and what does it mean in OPTCG. Okay, most people think about, let's take this standard board state. I mean, it's not about the board state, but what does it mean to like, what does the life mean to a typical player? Normally it is like an indicator that you how well you are doing against your opponent. Oh, I got lesser life, so I'm not doing very well. I got more life, so I'm doing better. But you must always see it as a resource. Okay, look at white bread and look at RP Luffy. Or actually look very specifically to white bread. Okay, his leader, he has 6 life, and every turn he has to take 1 life. Okay, unless he drop another 9 cost white bread on board, but every turn he's taking a life. So his life is essentially like a resource to him. And why he was so dominant is because his hand is so full at the end of the like 5 turns, and he's very hard to beat a 6 cost character. So same thing for queen. Okay, always treat this like a resource, and how we're gonna do it is and what do we mean by resource? I mean, not how we're going to do it. Later we'll go through some like gameplay stuff, but that queen can replenish resource, but what replenish your life, but what does it mean by it's a resource? Okay, so first it can absorb hits. Okay, if you have a bunch of blocker there, you can either choose to take life or block the hit. Okay, and this life absorb from your, like, you absorb that hit for and take a life. That hit can be infinite, and you take a life. So same like your blocker, he can block an infinite attack. He can take. So it's like to defend against. I mean, not when taking a life is essentially take a big hit. Okay, so there's one thing that you can calculate when, or one thing to think about, a factor that you think about when you are taking a hit. When do you take a hit? So you gain a resource also. Okay, next is you actually trigger effect. In our case, because we have a yellow character, so we do have trigger effects. Blue and yellow, actually, we do have a lot of trigger effects. So another thing to think about is your life actually help you trigger during your opponent's turn. So things like Borsellino's effect doesn't take place during their turn. You can just remove that character, or you gain like you draw cards, or you gain certain advantage during your opponent's turn that snowballs into your turn. So what do I so like the previous deck profile about Perona, we talked about the tempo. So this is another way to gain a tempo using your life, okay, by triggering effect. That's why yellow decks are so dominant when they do activate trigger, and that's why a lot of people are triggered, okay, by the triggers from these yellow decks, because they feel like it's not earned, it's like luck. But it does when you are a yellow player, it does take a bit of brain power to understand a lot about your life and what does it mean when you take a hit or do not take a hit at all. So this is a concept that I want to introduce. So next is your hand size actually increase. So that is the part that everybody can kind of like understand. Every time you take a hit, your hand actually increase, giving you either more characters, more counters, more events to actually use. So this is this is a factor that your opponent have to think about. So okay, when I hit you for 7k and you only have one card in hand, now your hand size increased to one more to an extra card. So now I have to maybe put in a 9k hit instead to ensure that the hit goes through. So these are the things that you can think about when you're actually dealing with your life, or actually deck building. Okay, 4 life, 3 life, 6 life. Yeah. So next, we talk about the core cards in blue, yellow, queen. So this deck, So 2 reasons I'm showcasing this deck. One is I want to talk a lot about how your life resources, and next is to showcase this next card, which is Sanji, the new secret rare from OP06. Okay, so Sanji's effect is on play, review 1 card from the top of your deck and play up to 1 character that is 9 cost or less, okay, other than Sanji. Then place the rest at the bottom of the deck. So basically, you can summon a 9 cost. When you summon Sanji, you can summon another 9 cost character, okay, from your deck. Very, very strong tempo card. When you can see how strong a tempo card is when you play Purple Luffy. You drop Uti, and then you drop page 1. It's pretty strong when you're playing against Purple Luffy. So same concept with Sanji. When you drop 2 9 cost, especially you drop 2 9 cost characters, it's pretty scary for your opponent. And on top of that, you are not afraid of your life going down with Queen, because you can always replenish if you meet the condition having a 8 cost character and above, which Sanji helps, and also 4 less cards on hand and life. So with that, these are some of the targets for Sanji. Quite standard set of cards. They all for all these characters, they all do something on play, which is very important if you play Sanji. Because let's say, for example, I draw a Sanji and I summon a Mihawk. Immediately, I have 2 big bodies on board, and I remove a character on your opponent's side. Very strong tempo swing. Okay, so these are some of the Sanji targets. Doesn't have to be them, but these are the big boys, basically. So another type of cards that help with this deck is cards that help you to arrange the top of your deck. Okay, what do I mean? So so the pretty widely used one is Dofi from OP01, the blocker Dofi. But there are some cards that are that are released that you can use, especially the newer ones. OP05 have X-Drake, which is a bigger body blocker and also does the same thing as Dofi. So how do we use this to our advantage, and why is it so core to the deck? Okay, so imagine now you are at this board state, and then I decided to have Dofi on hand. I actually summon Dofi, and this is the top 5 cards that I have on hand. it's important to arrange it so that you make full use of Sanji actually. So I'll do it something like that. Okay, turn 3, turn 4, and then turn 5. I know I will draw this card first. So the common mistake is turn 5 you put for the third card you put Mihawk there, and then next turn you summon like X-Ray. So be aware that you draw cards first. You draw the cards first during the turn. So you draw for turn 5, and then now you have your Sanji target. So I can drop Sanji on turn 5 without any worries. Okay, at 9 dawn very quickly. And at that time, your opponent might be still setting up. Ideally, he or she is still setting up the board. And once you drop Sanji, the tempo switch very quickly and almost immediately. Okay, and on top of that, next turn you draw Yamato, or you have Yamato on hand, or you have other cards on hand that is like, it's just 9 cost after 9 cost after 9 cost as you slowly replenish with Queen. Okay, very, very strong combination to have. And this is why these blockers are so essential in the deck. Next is we have our trigger blockers. So because we can rearrange them, we also can rearrange them, and also we can decide when Queen actually attacks and put the top card to the top of your deck. So this also allows you to decide which triggers go into the top of your life. Okay, so with Queen, you need to be a bit of a future planner, a bit of a 5-head to decide when you want to trigger, when you want to if you have triggers like when to attack, when to drop the Sanji. So that is why this deck is a little bit complicated, but when you know what you are doing and you have played it so many times, this deck can be really beautiful. Okay, these are some of the 2k counters that you can have in your deck, quite standard. So maybe I showcase a new card from ST12. Pudding. So from SG12 you have Pudding 2k counter. So the effect is main, you can return this card to your hand. So this is mainly if, let's say, your Sanji trigger fail, you summon it, and then you can actually bounce the card back to your hand again. Okay, no problem. Or let's say Queen, your hand is too full. Okay, you drop this, you drop Pudding, you gain your life, and then you activate Pudding effect. The 2k counter gets back to your hand. You can always have a 2k counter on hand. A pretty good effect, especially for Queen or managing hand size. Next, we go through some of the deck cards. Because of the yellow and blue combination, there's a lot of deck cards that you can look at. So here are some yellow deck cards. So Hiyori, always a staple in yellow. You can swap out your life, and it's a 2k counter. Okay, so really strong. Reject is also now slowly becoming more and more prominent in yellow decks, because if your opponent is at 1 life, you can actually reduce your opponent's life, and then you can go in for a hit at 4 cost. Very strong. Okay, another card that's I think not bad for this deck is Anel. You can be another Sanji target, especially has rush. Immediately he has effect on the board already. Okay, so very strong. And also on top of that, you can trash his life to actually maintain this character on board, become really sticky, and also because you can keep gaining life, and with Queen, so it becomes a pretty dominant character on board. Okay, so next blue. Blue, you have access to a lot of like return to the bottom of the deck cards, which help with maintaining the board state until you reach your 9 dawn turn or 10 dawn turn to actually do all the Queen shenanigans that you like. So that is one. If not, then you can actually have big boys like Kaido, both blue Kaido, 10 cost blue Kaido, to either draw or return cards to the hand. Either way is pretty good, depend on the playstyle that you like. Having a lot of big boys on board is quite strong. Yeah. So let's showcase the deck profile that I actually have. So this is the deck profile that I have. You can see that there's a lot of cards, like a lot of 1 off, 2 off, because Queen is so Queen, the playstyle is like adapt to your situation. That's why there is a lot of, I put 4 copies of all the rearranged top card blockers, and a lot of other trigger blockers, a lot of small 1 off cards that if the situation arrive, I can actually use them. So it's actually that's my playstyle for Queen. There might be other stronger playstyles out there, but this is how I like to play Queen. Yeah, so that's the profile. The only card that maybe I never showcase is like the 0 cost event card that give you 3000 counter and also beige. But other than that, yeah. So that is the end of the guide. Like I said, this will be the last OP06 guide. I'm working on the next deck profile for OP06.5. Yeah, so pretty excited for that. If not, that'll be it from me. Hope it helps you understand more about life. I try to, every time I do a deck profile, I try to actually add something to supplement the deck profile, like what I've learned from the deck lah. If not, then it's just another deck profile that y'all can search online lah. Yeah. If not, that's it from me. Okay, bye.